What's up, everybody? Chris Gault here, Healthy Living with Chris Gault. Today we're going to talk about how to stop perfectionism, if I said that right. I'm not sure if I was perfect, but how to stop perfectionism from ruining your life. And it's a must-see. And make sure you watch the full video to get the full effect, because I'm going to go over a lot of things and they tie together. So make sure you watch the full video and then make sure you take action, because remember Newton's law that a body at rest stays at rest and a body in motion stays in motion unless a force is acted upon it, which basically means that if you are stagnant in your life or you're going in the wrong direction of your life, you have to actually make a change in your life to fix that. So the first thing I wanted to do is actually give a definition of a perfectionist. And a perfectionist is a person who adheres to or believes in perfectionism, or a person who demands perfection of himself, herself, or others. Now I have to admit that the second definition of that term is what really killed me. Prior jobs that I was in, especially when I owned a running store, that really killed me because I did expect perfectionism. I got all caught up in it, and I not only expected it of myself, but I expected it of all my staff. And let's just say I was sorely and greatly disappointed. It actually took years for me to learn how not to be a perfectionist and how that perfection doesn't really exist in the world. And I'm not perfect, and I hate to break it to you, you're not perfect either. And once I allowed myself and others not to be perfect, I actually became a much happier, healthier human being. So that's what I'm here to talk about today. And don't get me wrong, I still think that striving to be perfect or do great things is an awesome thing, but expecting it all the time is not healthy. One of the things that I wanted to do when I was doing this video is to try to figure out why we are like this and then try to find ways to fix that. And I think it all started when we were children, because we're all told, we have to get the best grades. You have to get the best grades. And, I have to admit, I got the best grades in my family. I had 6 kids in the family. There were 6 of us in the family, and I did have the best grades. But I was very mediocre when I compared myself to other people. I wasn't the straight A kid at all, and I wasn't even close. But there was that expectation that you were a good person if you got straight A's. And everyone looked up to the kids who got straight A's and thought of them as being better people than the people who didn't get straight A's. So already, just from being a young child, you're already learning that being perfect, straight A's, is something that you want to strive for. And then also when it came to team sports, because I have to admit, I ran cross country and track in high school. I was very mediocre. I wasn't one of the best kids on the team. I wasn't one of the worst either. And I also did some little league, so I did baseball and football and that kind of stuff. And I was terribly uncoordinated. So I actually was pretty bad in that. And I grew up thinking about how the kids that were good at baseball and football and all that stuff were better people because they were more perfect than I was. And again, competition is a good thing, but comparing yourself to others and holding yourself to being perfect isn't. And even in these little league things where you get all these parents, and I'm not sure if they're just trying to relive their life through their kids, but because when I had my child, he did little league and all that kind of stuff, and he was not the best at sports, but he was good at some and he wasn't good at others. But man, you make a mistake. A kid makes a mistake on the field and they just get screamed at by the parents, and it's ridiculous that we actually do that, because then all it's doing is just teaching the kid that they have to be perfect all the time, and it's an unreal expectation in the world. The other thing is we get into this whole thing about we see what we fail at and we don't see what we accomplish at. And so if we go back to that little league thing, I could see some kids easily saying, I struck out twice in that game, I did terrible. But they failed to look at the fact that they got on base 3 times because they're up 5 times. And one of those times they actually hit a home run. And so they should have looked at that day as a success, but they look at it as a failure because they struck out 2 times. Another one could be like, I came in second place in the 5K. and I wanted to be in first, but so I'm a failure because I came in second place. And what they failed to say is, oh yeah, that's right, there was actually a professional 5K runner that was in the race and they got first, and you did beat your PR by 3 minutes, so you should have been happy on that day, but you're not feeling happy because you didn't win the race. And so we all fall into that, and I fell into that too. I fell into that with my job at my store, and I kept all these ratios of where we are, and the store is very successful, and I should have celebrated that more. But what I looked at more was, oh, you know what, we hit 5 of our goals, but we missed the 6th goal, and so we failed. And and it's okay to look at things and say I want to better things, but you got to look at the wins too, and you have to celebrate the wins even though they aren't 100% of what you expected. And that's what's healthy. Always look at how to fix, always look at how to improve, but also give yourself a pat on the back for actually doing great things. So the first one I said was childhood, and I think childhood, it all started back then, and I think correcting that now, if we could see that now, that yes, we were taught this when we were children, but they were unreal expectations, and allow ourselves to maybe have that B or C on the report card, then we start to heal a little bit, and we actually get to actually move forward and say, you know what, life isn't perfect, and it's not going to be perfect, and I shouldn't expect it from my kids or my staff or my whatever, or myself. I should allow failure to happen. And I'm going to talk a little more about that down the road. The next one, though, that really affects us is social media. And people mainly post their perfect part of their lives on social media. Their perfect vacations, their parties, their job promotions, their new homes, the kids doing well, all that stuff is what they normally will post. And they rarely will post, oh, I got fired from my job. Oh yeah, I'm going to put that up on Facebook. I got fired from my job because I'm incompetent. People aren't going to post that. So what we're doing, and they also don't post the mundane stuff. Oh, I got up today and drank coffee, or I swept the rug, or vacuumed the floor. And so what happens is we're looking at their Facebook page and we're thinking, wow, I'm doing all this mundane day-to-day stuff, or I'm failing here, and all these other people are just succeeding and winning and doing great things in life. And it's just an unreal expectation. We think that they are perfect, but they're not, and they also have the same kind of failures and the same kind of days that we have. And because everyone has just bad days at home or at work, they're gonna have failures. It's just gonna happen. So don't compare your day-to-day stuff with their best perfect stuff. And I actually challenge you to go back to your own social media pages and try to look at it as a third party and roll through it. And you'll probably think you live a fantastic life because you're probably only posting the good things too. So you'd be like, oh wow, I had that fantastic vacation, and I had this job promotion, or wherever it is, my kids, did well in this baseball game or this soccer game. And you're going to think, you know what, I actually live a darn good life too. And the best part of all of that is you probably do live a pretty darn good life, but we can't expect it to be perfect all the time. And once you see that no one else is perfect, then it takes the pressure off, and that way you don't have to compare yourself to them, because you realize that they're not perfect either, and you're not trying to be better because you think, oh, I have to be better because they're great, and I have to be, I have to at least be at their level, right? So do yourself a favor and don't let social media run your life. Use it for fun. Put some cool things up there. See what family people are doing, friends are doing, but don't let it ruin your life. And the last topic I want to talk about is negative self-talk. And we can all get into this. We actually talk to ourselves and say bad things. And this typically results when you are afraid of doing something because you may fail at it. And so you're going to say, hey, you're going to have this negative self-talk that says, don't go on that diet because you're not going to lose that weight anyway. And that's just negative self-talk. And that's just because you think you have to be perfect at anything you do. So why even try if you don't think you're going to be perfect? And that's just not a good, healthy way to live life. And you just have to realize that failure is just part of life. And you can lose the battle, but you want to win the war. And you can't win the war if you don't actually start at something. And life is about experiences, and it's not just about winning. And failure typically means that you're just trying new things. And there's a sure way to actually never fail, and that is don't do anything. Just sit in your house, don't have any expectations or any goals, and you'll never fail because you never have anything that you're going after. But that's not a good way to live life. So what you want to do is make sure that you are allowing failure into your life, and then cut out all that negative self-talk if you're not perfect. And because just realize that nobody else is either, and everyone fails. I mean, even the best people in the world, Olympic athletes, football players. The football players do throw interceptions at times, and things don't go well. But you wouldn't say that they were bad. I mean, they are the best players in the world when it comes to that specific sport. So just know that it's okay to fail, and take away all that negative self-talk, because that's what really kills us. And when you look in the mirror, don't think, oh my God, I look terrible. Just try to think, hey, I look great, but there's some things that I want to correct, and this is what I'm going to do to go after that. That's all I had for this video, and I want to thank you all so much for watching it. And if you have any comments or any thoughts or anything to add to help people become less of a perfectionist, please leave them in the comments below, and I will meet you there soon. All I ask is that you are uplifting and positive and helpful in the comments, because that's what this channel is all about. It's not about tearing people down. It's all about lifting them up. And if you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, because that way YouTube knows to push this video out to others that can benefit from it. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell notification so you'll be notified every time I put out a healthy living video. And if you know anybody who can use healthy living, I can't even say it because I'm not perfect. If you know anybody who can use healthy living videos like this one, make sure you share this video and the channel with them so they can join in on all the fun. And for more tips on how to live a happier, healthier life, 2 videos are going to pop up any moment. You can click on any of those videos and you can continue your happy, healthy living journey. And I will see you all next time.